Okay, so we are going to look at arpeggiation. The first thing we're going to do is going to create an audio track with a retrosynth plugin inserted. I'm sorry, an instrument track with retrosynth inserted. And we're going to create a 4-bar region and loop it. And we're going to pick a key for the song. So I'm going to create my 4-bar region here. Oops, I'm going to create a 1-bar region and loop it 4 times. My 4-bar region, and Preston says A, so let's pick A minor. We'll go to A minor, key of A minor. Okay. And we're going to have a chord progression across those 4 bars. Preston, want to give us a second chord after A? A, E? A, C. Wait, next chord, not the notes in A. What's the next chord we should do after A? Just pick any letter besides B and you're good. A, G, and then how about one more? A, G, C. Which one should we play for 2 bars? One of them we need to play for 2 bars. So we're going to go an A. He's picked an A. We'll go A, G. Oh, he wants the A for 2 bars. A, G, and then do a C. Okay? Our chord progression is going to go A, G, C. Okay? First thing now I want you to do is these are just pads across here. We're in the accompaniment range. We're going to go right around C3. Okay? Now I'm going to add in the 3rd for A, which will be C, and the 5th, which will be E. And I'll add in the 3rd for G and the D. And I'll add in the 3rd for C, E, G. Why doesn't everyone get to that point? And when you are there, will you please put your flags up? Okay, so to recap what we just talked about in class, we're going to add a 4th note to our chord, right? And we only have 3 notes allowed per chord for this class, which means that 4th note is going to be a duplicate of one of the bottom 3. So we start out on this first one. We have an A, C, E. The next note up we could get to if we went up here that is in those is the A again. We'd have to go back to the A again. So I'm going to duplicate that A up there. And I'm going to do the same thing here because it's the same chord. It's 3 notes, 4 voices. 4 voices singing only 3 notes. This is very common. We do this a lot. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing here. I've got my G, B, D. I'm going to now go up again, and then the next G, B, or D I run into is going to be a G right here. Okay, so I'm going to bring up that G. Okay, 3 notes, G, B, D, 4 voices, another G. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with the C, E, G. I'm going to add another voice, which would be the C. Okay. And we looked at this, there's a lot of jumping going on here. We're going too far up for this C. So I'm actually going to bring this voice back down here. So I've got my C, E, G, but I want 4 voices. Okay? So if I go down here below the C, the next chord note down is this G here. Okay? Is that G there? So I've got a G, C, E, G. You can duplicate any of those notes that are of the 3 notes that are in the chord. And I now have this beautiful chord progression. Can everyone make sure they're there and then put your flags up if you're there? Insert this arpeggiator. Most of us have no idea what this arpeggiator even means. What does it mean? Well, it is going to go in here and play different of these notes for us at different times. Okay? Why does that work? If you remember our signal flow that we had here last week, we talked about the fact that we had a MIDI track with the notes on it, and it was going to the synthesizer, which was retrosynth, right? And then it went into those plugins where we put in the EQ. And last week what we did is we automated the synthesizer here, and we automated the EQ right here, right? What we're going to stick in right here is called a MIDI effect, and it goes before the synthesizer. The MIDI effect goes before it's changed to audio. Okay? So what does that mean? What is the MIDI effect could it be controlling what could it be changing if it isn't even audio yet?
Where the notes are placed?
Yeah, so what does MIDI have in it? The notes? Basically the notes and when they're played and how hard they're played. Note on and off, velocity, and pitch. Right? That's basically, so all this thing can do is control the pitches that are played, when they're played, and how hard they're played. Okay? How do we do that? Sorry, it's just a little hard to keep all this on the window at once. Okay. If we click on our track, and make sure you've clicked on your track. In fact, I'm going to call that accompaniment. So I keep track of what's going on. If we come over here above retro synth, sorry, I've got it left over from last class, you'll see this MIDI effects box. That is what allows us to put some effects between the track and the retro synth plugin before it starts converting it to audio. If we click on that, the very top one is called Arpeggiator. Go ahead and click on that. Okay? And then there's a few settings before you hit play that I'd like you to try to do here. Okay? We're going to pick the factory default, which is already there. We're going to set the ARP rate to a quarter note. We're going to change the song tempo to 100 beats per minute. And we're going to set the direction to this up arrow right here. Then we're going to hit play. And what this is doing is it is playing through these notes. One per quarter note. By scaling up through them, like using this up arrow. I could have done the same thing by turning off the arpeggiator and drawn each, oops, and it's already annoying. This is the point in an arpeggiator is you don't have to do, I could have done, I could have mapped in each note by myself. Sounds the same. Dun, 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 dun. I could have done that, or I could have the arpeggiator do it for me by simply mapping in those four notes as pads and saying to the arpeggiator, you know what? Play a quarter note for each note and start from the bottom and go up. Looks like I turned the arpeggiator back on. Boom, boom, boom. Got that? Try that. Change the direction. See if you can hear it coming down. Should start with the high note now. Here I can start with low and go to high. Okay, here I can have it come from the outside in. Go ahead and hit your flags, put your flags down when you're satisfied. So now we're going to customize the grid. What does that mean? Well, the grid is this thing down here at the bottom of the arpeggiator. And first thing you do is you click the grid button right here. And this shows you how many notes you might have, how long your, yes, you could have up to 16 notes in this grid, how long the loop is. This is your looping bar right down here. It's a little hard to see right at the bottom there. That's how long your loop is going to be. So we're going to set our loop to go for 8 different beats. Okay, right here, 1 through 8. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on each beat by clicking on the number. And I hit play now. I'm going to do the arrow up, sorry. It's just going right up through these, right? Now watch what happens. I realize one of the things that's happening here is because I'm only playing quarter notes, and every time a note starts, the grid starts over. It's actually I only need to loop it for 4 right now. Okay? And watch what happens. I can change the volume on these notes. Watch this. I can turn down. Now 1 is louder. I can make 1 really loud. I can make one longer by dragging it to the right. Dragging these bars up and down makes them louder or quieter. Dragging them to the right and left makes them longer or shorter. Now, at home, I was able to make it short. Here on this Logic, I can't, but I was able to make it down to a very short note. I could drag this to left. Okay, now I'm going to add a chord. Right here under 3, I'm going to hit this little chord button. I'm going to turn down the first note. On the B3, it's hitting a whole chord. Okay. Now I'm going to change the beat. I want it to be on every 8th note. In fact, yeah, I'll put it on 8th right now. I'm going to change my loop now to be 8 notes so I can add some chords. See what I'm doing? Is that making sense? So you probably have drugged this note too long to the right and you only have one note going. That'd be a pad, right? That gives you a pad sound. Drag it back. Now I can't. That makes sense? Play around with that a little, then try changing it up to 16th. Might be a little bit much, right? For this song. Put it back to 8th. What's really important is this loop length right here. Should be 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Okay? If this loop length, you start putting it at 9, you're going to get some really weird patterns as it turns around after 9 when the bar is going for 8 notes or 16 notes, right? See what you can do with that. Just to recap some of the things we talked about on Arpeggiator, excuse me. We have our chords going. We have 4 notes per chord. We could have 3, we could have 2, we could have more, right? I can just pick one of these complex grooves. I can look at it and see, oh, this is a 16-bar loop. It's got some notes off. The 7th and the 9th, 16th are gone. I'm not a 16-bar, 16-note loop. 16th notes. So this is a 1-bar loop with 16 notes in it. Some are turned off. Some are chords. Some are turned up loud, right? Some are just single notes. This one's going to go up and then come back down. So it's going to go something like this and come back down. Every 4 notes, it's going to come back down. Okay. If I don't want these little pickup notes, now I just have chords here if I do this, right? Just turning notes off. You can add that chord in there. Maybe I want a long note in the beginning. I'll drag it long. Maybe I don't want a note in the last one, a chord. Maybe I want this second chord really. Maybe I don't want any of these on over here. Maybe just that last one. Maybe I want a more of a classic cycle. Watch what happens over here now. I can start adding and removing chords from here. Watch it now if I just have one note in the arpeggiator, right here when he hits this. I'm only giving the arpeggiator one note to play with. It forces the arpeggiator to do its cycle with just fewer notes. Maybe I only want one note at the end there. That making sense? What you feed to the arpeggiator affects the way it sounds too. It gets out of control pretty quick, right? The computer's taking over. Your job is you're kind of steering it in certain directions. Yeah.
So if you just want to add like one arpeggiator sounds to like one bar of music and then change it in the next, would you have to make a whole different track, or is there a way to input that?
You mean a different arpeggiation pattern?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could automate the patterns, right? So if I go in, if you have an arpeggiator pattern, let's say I like this one I've got. Let me just put my chords back to where they were here real quick. If I have this arpeggiator pattern, I can save it right here. Save as Nate's arpeggiator pattern, and then I should be able to go into the automation on the track here and go into, I'm hoping, let's see what happens, arpeggiator. No, I can't preset it. So I would have to,
I think on the arpeggiator, there's those things on the top left side that have the little notes if you go on. Those right there, right next
Right
to
here?
the play thing. Yeah, I think you could drag them and then.
Drag. I can't remember what this play thing means. I think it means just activate it. I don't know. I think you might have to set up a different. You can automate, I guess, the individual settings, but that would be a pain, right? You got all that you'd want to go. So yeah, it does look like you have to have multiple tracks for different arpeggios. All right, so I think that's about all I have to do, but it can get really quick. Oh, no, there is another thing I want to show you. Okay, 1 second. We want to create the bass and lead. Let's just add a bass track, okay? And we'll make it a retro synth again. And I'm just going to drag my region down there. I'm going to go ahead and edit it just a little bit before I activate it. I'm going to have to remember my chords are. Does anyone remember the first chord? G was no, A was our first chord, right? And our second chord was what? G, and then the third chord? C. So when we're in the bass, you probably want to have the root note be the lowest note. So I'm just going to take these root notes and I'm going to move them all down an octave. I try to here, my computer's a little slow. Come on. Ah, there we go. Go ahead and solo. This is why we never write in A, because that's too high. If I move it down an octave, it'll be too low. Anyway, there's low. Guess what? I can do the arpeggiator right on that. Exact same thing. Arpeggiator. It's going up an octave there for me. If I didn't have an octave, it'd just be on that one note. That's going to sound pretty good with this, probably. All right. If I want to add a little bit to my bass, maybe I do. I add the third or the fifth above it here. I can add just a little bit here. Let's do it. I don't want much down there. Maybe I'll put the D there. Is that making sense? I don't want to add a whole bunch of notes in the bass. It'll move around too much. I don't even like that note. I'm going to get rid of it right there. I'm kind of grooving bass now. I let Logic write my bass line for me. Now I can go into retro synth and pick a bass sound. Let's see here. Go 80s. This sounds kind of 80s already. Nope, that sounds horrible. It's too low. Not enough high frequency. Let me add some. I use the Arpeggiator to write my bass line. Is that cheating? Yes. Do it. Now, I don't know the thing about writing melodies, right? Okay, I can't even think of a melody. How should I write a melody? Well, it's pretty easy. Let me add another software instrument track called Retro Synth. Okay, and I'm going to call it lead. And I'm going to move it up to the top. And I'm going to take my plucky FM loop that I had going in my accompaniment. I'm just going to drag it up. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to solo lead. And I'm going to come in here and just move everything up an octave. Grab all this stuff. I start on this A. Move up to that A. Oops. I see I didn't do a good job of cloning my... Sorry, the computer goes a little slow when I'm recording. And come on. Showing the plus sign. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to grab all that stuff in the lead. I'm going to move it up an octave. I've got that bass stuff going. Let me just listen to the lead part. Well, how can I write my lead? Let me add in Arpeggiator. I'm going to pick one of the factory defaults. Gosh, computer is really going slow here. Sorry. A little too slow. We'll try, I don't know, rolling eighths. I think an eighth note thing is usually better for a lead. That one's boring. What's that? The key? We don't want to change the key. We want to stay right with the same notes we have. So I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to make it not go an octave higher. And I know that melodies have longer notes, so I'm going to just lengthen some of these. Just lengthen some of those. I'm going to go pick a nice lead sound from the retro synth. Let's see here. Cheerful melody, that would be nice. That's horrible. Basic dance lead, sure. Turn my accompaniment down as always. Turn your lead up as always. your wise string. I got too much buzz in that bass, so I'm going to actually just bring the filter down on it. Lead, accompaniment, bass. My bass is not sounding very good. Let's try a sawtooth. Can't even hear it. Where's like a plucky? There we go, plucky. Is that making sense? I can use it to get some ideas. Now I've got a melody at it. And I can build my melody from that. I can use what the arpeggiator is doing, or I can just have it inspire me to find my own melodies, right?